Hey, I miss Asian foods. What's up? It's the culture detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to be doing an album review on the latest Utada Hikaru album, BAD modo, or Bad Mode. So Utada Hikaru is a singer-songwriter from Japan. She has been making music ever since the year 1999. And this is her newest album, Bad Mode. And I wasn't aware of this artist at all until last year when she released One Last Kiss, which is the theme song for Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time, which is, in my opinion, the best movie of 2021. And One Last Kiss, the song, also ended up on my list of favorite songs of 2021. And in fact, it ended up as number 5. So as you can probably tell, I really love the song One Last Kiss. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. But after learning about One Last Kiss, I learned about Utada Hikaru, and naturally, she's releasing a new album. And to my surprise, not only does this album have a lot of catchy tracks, but also the production on this album is very crisp and HD. They're very clean and very cut. I don't know what does that mean. It's very clean cut, and it does give this album a really interesting texture and style. So the album opens off with Bad Mode, the title track, which is a summery, sweet guitar jam with blissful chords, clear pianos, and grand horns. It is an awesome album opener. And towards the end of the track, we get an airy, spacey breakdown, which then builds up to a key change. And I think this is a pretty impressive album opener. Lyrically, it is about Utada Hikaru herself not really knowing what to do with her lover, whether to give her lover some space or to protect him. And lyrically, most of this album is basically about love, which is nothing all that exciting or interesting, but with this J-pop alternative R&B style, I think it works really well. The second track is Kimi ni夢中, or Inside Your Dreams. It has some simple sequenced beats, smooth watery pianos, and this is a lovely alternative R&B mixture with J-pop. And after the 1 minute mark, the track starts to actually sound interesting with the low pitched piano starting to cycling and surge, and it just sounds really interesting from there on out. And then of course we have the track One Last Kiss, which is not only my favorite track on the album, but also one of my favorite tracks from 2021. I think a lot of people who don't know what Evangelion is will not be able to appreciate this song, because Evangelion, if you're an anime fan, you must have heard of Evangelion, if not have watched it. And Evangelion is a really life-affirming, complicated anime, one of the most seminal and influential and important animes of the last 3 decades, and has been one of the biggest projects by Ano Hideaki, who I consider a genius. And to end off the whole franchise with Evangelion 4, aka 3.0 plus 1.0, and with this song as the theme song, I think it really means a lot, because this song just goes to show that you can do so much more beyond sadness, where a lot of stories, and I don't want to spend another 10 minutes explaining why I love this song, but what you need to know is that a lot of stories try to end as climactically and as dramatically and as catastrophically as possible, both emotionally and narrative-wise. But Evangelion chooses to end in such a beautiful, hopeful, sweet note that without the catastrophes and without the psychological traumas, it would just seem like a corny ass love song. But with all that in context, you would realize how ingenious this song is, because it's trying to say that beyond this extreme sadness and pain, there is hope. And this song is amazing with the skippy beats, the pulsating synths, the swirling vocal layers. It is blissful, yes, but also enlightening. It charges you up and makes you feel ready to live. The lyrics are about love set in the end of the world, and it's very much in line with the themes of Evangelion, and it is just one of the most beautiful things I've heard all year last year. Anyways, Pink Blood, the follow-up track, is a pretty average cut of alternative R&B. I think the instrumentals run kind of thin, not really all that impressive. And then that is followed with the track Time, which is a very catchy track with crispy beats and sharp synths. And then that is followed with Kibunja Naino, which means not in the mood. And this track is a 7.5 minute long guitar ballad. And I think if this track was shorter, I would probably like it more. I think it's a little bit too long because the same chords are being repeated again and again, and the chorus being rain, rain, go away, I'm just not in the mood today. And lyrically, it is quite interesting. It's about Utada Hikaru tries to tell a story, but it's kind of abstract. In the second half of the track, the story kind of involves this old lady smoking a cigarette trying to sell her poem, which is quite interesting. But then again, I think the track is a little bit too long. It would be better if it's shorter. Then we have the track Dare ni mo iwanai, or Don't Tell Anyone, where this is a song that apparently showed up in a mineral water commercial, which is really funny. But the song itself is really good. I think this track is a very enveloping and warm contemporary R&B track. The beat on this track is one of the coolest on the entire album. It incorporates a lot of repetition and echoes, as well as clarinets, which makes this track so much catchier and brighter. And then with the track Fine Love, which grew on me a lot after the first listen. It is a bleepy bloopy pop song that sounds like something out of the early 2000s, but in my opinion, I think it is a very catchy, compact, and endearing song. And what I like about this song as well is the lyrics, and I'm not talking about the English version, I'm talking about the Japanese version, because Utada Hikaru actually wrote the same song but with two different set of lyrics, English and Japanese, and there's a Japanese version of this song as one of the bonus tracks on the album. And then we have Face My Fears, which is an overdramatic J-pop song with dubstep, and that is because this track features none other than Mr. Skrillex. And I'm not opposed to the idea of dubstep being incorporated into J-pop, but this is just not it. The dubstep just completely buries Utada Hikaru's vocals, and the style is just so mismatched. But anyways, the album ends off with Somewhere Near Marseilles, which is a 12-minute long, danceable, groovy, multifaceted album ending. It started off very catchy, like a disco dance track with its cycling keyboards and these robotic beats. Kind of reminds me a lot of like LCD Sound System. And as the track progresses, it sort of changes its style without changing too much. It starts getting stiff and robotic near the middle part of the track, and then at the end it dissolves into something very airy and spacey. And I think this is a pretty damn good song as far as a 12-minute long J-pop track goes. I like how bold it is, and I like the beat a lot. And finally, I'd like to talk about Beautiful World, the capo version, which is actually a bonus track, but I love this track a lot, and I don't know why it's not in the album itself. But it is a very theatrical song that starts off quiet. It has some really nice guitars, great vocals, beautiful vocal layers and chords, and I kind of wish that this track is in the album itself. But yeah, overall, I'm actually quite satisfied with this album. Surely, most tracks on this album are basically singles, so fans who have been waiting for this album to drop didn't really get a lot other than 4 tracks that aren't singles, but I still think a lot of the tracks here are pretty damn good, and kind of giving this album a strong 7 to a light 8 out of 10. And my favorite track here is One Last Kiss, and my least favorite is Face My Fears. So, I forgot to mention that there are 2 more Face My Fears tracks here, 2 more remixes, and the latter is remixed by A.G. Cook, so that's pretty interesting. So, have you listened to the new Utada Hikaru album from One to 10? Just rate it, like, and subscribe if you want more. Thanks for watching. I believe this is from Hong Kong, and I've been living in the USA for a whole month, and I still haven't eaten the whole thing yet because I'm treasuring this.